The sky above the Velari capital was filled with silent fire. Ships drifted like broken feathers, sparks trailing behind them. Smoke and silence replaced the once beautiful songs that floated over the gardens of the city. The war had ended. After years of struggle, the humans had won. They were strong, fast, and prepared for battle in a way the Velari never were. The Velari had once believed that peace would protect them. It had not. Now, the leaders of both sides stood together in the main hall of the palace. The building still stood, but it was cracked in places. Plants hung down from broken windows. Paintings of past kings and queens were covered in dust. The humans had a tradition. When they won a war, they did not take control of every world. Instead, each honored soldier was given a chance to choose one prize from the defeated side. It could be a ship, a building, a small territory, or an item of personal value. Some soldiers had already made their choices. One took a silver starship with ancient Velari engines. Another took control of a library known for its rare knowledge. Some took statues, some took land. Then came the turn of a human soldier named Ian. Ian was not a high-ranking officer. He was quiet, young, and didn't speak much during meetings. He stood at the back of the room, looking at the Velari people. While others searched for treasures, he watched the faces. His eyes stopped on a girl sitting near the corner. She was not dressed like a leader. Her clothes were simple, her hair tied back loosely. She looked down at her hands, as if trying to disappear. But Ren noticed something others didn't. She was not afraid. She was thinking. Her eyes were focused, not lost. Ren stepped forward. "I choose her," he said, pointing toward the girl. Gasps filled the room. A few whispered among themselves. One human officer laughed softly in disbelief. "The princess?" One Velari elder asked. "She is not trained in war or politics. She is quiet, fragile, and she is my choice," Ren repeated. The Velari elders looked at each other. Then they nodded. "Her name is Lena. She is the youngest daughter of our last queen." Ren walked toward her. She looked up at him, calm but curious. Her hands were still in her lap. She did not speak. "You are coming with me," Ren said. Gently, she gave a small nod. Later that day, Lena was brought aboard Ren's ship. It was not large or shiny. It was an old vessel, mostly used for scouting and patrol. The walls were plain. The crew was small, but respectful. Ian showed her to a quiet room near the center of the ship. "This will be your space," he said. "You are not a prisoner. You are not a trophy. You are someone I believe in. That's why I chose you." Lena looked around the room. There was a bed, a chair, a small table, and a window showing the stars. She touched the wall gently. "Why me?" she finally asked. Ian stood still for a moment. Then he answered, "Because you were the only one who didn't look lost." The days that followed were quiet. Lena did not talk much, but she watched everything. She watched how the crew moved, how the ship worked, how Ren gave orders. She ate meals in silence, sitting near the corner of the dining room. The crew respected her space. Some were unsure of her, but they followed Ren's lead. One evening, Ren found her in the control room. She was standing near the main screen, watching a map of nearby stars. "You understand what you're looking at?" he asked. "A little," she replied. "We studied basic navigation when I was younger." Ren leaned on the console. "Would you like to learn more?" Lena turned to him. For the first time, she smiled just a little. "Yes," she said. From that moment, something changed. Ian began to teach her. He explained how ships moved through space, how commanders made decisions during battle, how alliances were formed and broken. He showed her maps, old battle records, and taught her how to read signals from other fleets. Lena listened carefully. She asked smart questions. She did not speak just to speak. Every word she said had weight. One night, she asked him, "Do humans always choose prizes after war?" Ren nodded. "It is part of the tradition, but many just choose things that shine or bring power. And you chose me," she said quietly. "Yes. Do you regret it?" "No." There was a long pause. "I want to learn everything you can teach me," she said. Ian looked at her. Surprised. Why? Because my people lost, Lena said. We believed that kindness and peace would keep us safe. We were wrong. I want to understand why, and I want to make sure it doesn't happen again, not through revenge, but through strength. Rin gave a small nod. Then we start tomorrow. The war had ended, but something new had just begun. Not a new fight, not a new enemy, but a quiet partnership between a human soldier and a once fragile princess. One had seen the world break through war. The other had seen it break through weakness. Together, they would build something stronger. The stars outside the ship moved slowly, glowing softly in the darkness. The galaxy seemed calm from the window, but inside the ship, changes had already started. Lena woke early each morning. She did not waste time. She cleaned her room, folded her blanket, and waited for Rin outside the small control room. He always arrived carrying 2 cups of warm tea. They would sit together, not speaking much, and look at maps and reports. Rin had never trained anyone before. He was a soldier, not a teacher. But Lena was different. She remembered everything. She asked short, clear questions. She did not ask twice. Once she heard the answer, she understood. One morning, Rin pointed at a map showing a narrow star path. Do you know why ships avoid this area? He asked. Lena looked closely. It is gravitational shifts, she said. Too dangerous for large ships to cross. Rin smiled. Correct. Most leaders ignore that detail. They learn from others, but you notice things yourself. Lena nodded. She did not smile often, but her eyes shone with quiet pride. The crew began to notice her. At first, they were unsure. She was Velari, and the war was still fresh in many hearts. But Lena never gave orders. She spoke with respect. When she passed the engineers, she asked them about their work. When she watched the pilot, she studied how he adjusted the controls during landing. She was not trying to impress anyone. She was trying to understand. One day, the ship stopped at a small human trade station. It was quiet, with only a few supply ships around. Rin and Lena stepped out together. People watched them. Surprised, a human soldier walking beside a Velari princess was not something they saw every day. A group of merchants whispered among themselves. One of them spoke loudly. Strange prize you picked, soldier. Don't you want to trade her for something useful? Rin did not answer, but Lena stepped forward. I'm not a prize, she said calmly. I am here to learn. The merchant laughed. Learn what? How to lose again? Lena did not look angry. She simply replied, no. How not to lose again? There was silence. Rin looked at her with respect. She had not raised her voice. She had not stepped back. She had spoken like someone with purpose. Back on the ship, Rin handed her a small datapad filled with old military files. You were calm, he said. That is rare. I used to hide during council meetings, she replied. No one wanted to hear my voice. Now I speak because I must. In the weeks that followed, Lena started joining Rin during communications with other ships. She listened as he gave reports. She watched how he spoke with both respect and strength. When a minor conflict broke out between 2 cargo teams, she offered a solution that saved time and avoided trouble. The crew began to trust her slowly. She stopped being seen as a guest. She became part of the ship. One evening, while reviewing star routes, Lena pointed to a region filled with old mining colonies. Why are these colonies silent? She asked. They were attacked during the second wave of the war, Rin said. Many were abandoned. They had no defense. She said no. They depended on the council to protect them. But the council was too slow. Lena sat quietly. Do you think the Velari can rise again? She asked. Ein leaned back in his chair. Not by doing what they did before, he said, but maybe with new voices, new ideas. Lena looked at him. Would anyone follow me? You don't need them to follow, Rin replied. Just show them the way. If your steps are steady, others will walk beside you. After that, Lena began to write. She filled data pads with thoughts, ideas, and messages. She wrote about peace, but also about strength. She believed that a world should protect what it values, not just hope others will respect it. Orion read her words and saw something important. She was not just a student anymore. She was building a new path. Then came a message from a neutral Valari outpost. The people there had heard rumors about Lena. They invited her to visit and speak. It was a small place, not powerful, but it was a beginning. Orion looked at the message. You want to go? Lena nodded. If I speak there, others may listen to. Ren smiled. Then we prepare. Before they left, Lena stood in front of the crew. She thanked them for treating her as more than a symbol. She said she was proud to stand with them, not above them. The pilot, a quiet man named Bren, gave her a small badge from his uniform. Keep this, he said. Not as a soldier, but as someone we trust. Lena accepted it with quiet thanks. As the ship left the trade station and turned toward the outpost, Ren looked at her. You know this journey will not be easy, he said. I know, she replied. You may be tested. I'm ready. He nodded. Then let's begin. The stars ahead were wide and unknown. But Lena no longer looked down. She watched them with sharp eyes. She was no longer just a quiet princess. She was becoming something more. The Valari outpost was small and quiet. It floated near a pale blue moon. Far from the busy star routes, from a distance, it looked like a forgotten place. A few metal buildings joined by glass tunnels. But for Lena, this was where everything would begin. As the ship landed, Ren stood beside her. Remember, he said, you don't need to prove yourself to anyone. Just speak with honesty. Lena nodded. I will. They walked through the main gate. A few guards watched from the corners. Others whispered to each other. Word had spread already. The human who chose a Valari princess was here, and she had something to say. Inside the council hall, a small crowd waited. They were mostly older Valari, wearing long robes. A few young faces sat near the back. No one stood. No one clapped. Lena stepped forward. She did not carry a weapon. She wore a plain outfit, the same one she used aboard Ren's ship. Her voice was calm but steady. I am not here as royalty, she said. I am here as a voice that was once silent. Some looked away. A few listened. My people believed peace was enough. We believed others would respect our kindness. But kindness without strength is easily broken. One council member stood. You speak like a fighter. He said, Are you saying we should become like them? No, Lena replied. I'm saying we should stop being blind. There was silence. She walked slowly through the hall. Meeting their eyes, I saw what we lost. I saw the pain of those who trusted leaders that waited too long. I do not wish to lead by fear, but I will not stand by while others suffer again. The young ones at the back leaned forward. I am learning not from books, but from those who survived the fire. If you believe in a better future, then let us shape it together. When she finished, there was no applause, but there was no rejection either. That night, Lena sat by the window of the guest room. She looked at the stars and thought about the faces she had seen. Some showed doubt. A few showed hope. Ian entered with 2 cups of tea. You spoke well, he said. I don't know if it was enough. It was the truth. That is enough for the right people. Lena took the cup and sipped. Quietly. The next morning, one of the young Valari from the hall, a girl named Mira, came to her. I want to learn from you, she said. I want to help. Lena smiled gently. Then stay close. We have much to do. More followed. A few engineers asked to show her old Valari defense plans. A retired officer offered to train anyone who wished to join a protection group. Slowly, the outpost came alive again. Ian watched all this from a distance. He remembered the quiet girl he had seen in the palace, sitting with her head down. That girl was gone. In her place stood someone building something greater than herself. Weeks passed. Lena traveled with Ren to 2 more outposts. In each place, she spoke with honesty and listened more than she talked. People began to send her messages, asking for advice or offering help. Some shared news of pirates, rogue fleets, and hidden dangers that still moved through the galaxy. Lena began to study each case. She asked Ren to show her how small groups could defend larger areas using clever planning. She built models, practiced strategies, and reviewed ancient Velari tactics alongside modern human techniques. One night, while they were reviewing defense routes, Lena paused. Our people always believe that force leads to war, she said. So we avoided force. But now I see that without any strength, we invite war. Ren nodded. Balance is the hard part, but you're getting closer. Lena leaned over the map. I don't want to build an army of attack. I want a shield. Something that protects those who cannot fight. Ren pointed to the outer systems on the map. There are colonies here, poor, weak, and left behind by both sides after the war. They need that shield. Then we'll start there. Lena said. The next few missions were not battles, but rescue efforts. Lena and Ren took food, medicine, and engineers to damaged colonies. They helped rebuild walls and train local teams in basic defense. Lena never acted like a ruler. She worked beside everyone else, carrying supplies and sharing food. In return, people followed her. They did not follow her because of her title. They followed her because she brought light to dark places. In one colony, an elder gave her a small, star-shaped pin. This belonged to my daughter, he said. She believed one voice could change many. Now I give it to you. Lena accepted it with care and placed it on her collar. On the way back to the ship, she looked at Ren. I used to be afraid of speaking. Now, he asked, now I'm afraid of stopping. He gave a small smile. Then keep going. Lena continued to train. She practiced on the flight deck, learned to pilot small crafts, and read long reports late into the night. Her eyes no longer showed doubt. They showed focus. One evening, while studying old Alliance records, she looked at Ren. If the galaxy must change, she said, then someone has to start it. You already have. Ren replied. She looked out the window. The stars seemed closer now. The fire inside her was no longer hidden. It burned quietly, guiding her forward. She was no longer just watching. She was leading. Lena stood in the ship's command room, her eyes focused on a large map of the outer galaxy. Colored lights marked colonies, trade routes, and known pirate activity. Ren stood beside her, silent as usual, waiting for her to speak first. These 5 colonies, Lena said, pointing at the map, have asked for help. They've seen attacks. Small fleets, no warning, no protection. Ren nodded. They're easy targets, poor supplies, no trained guards, and no support from major alliances. They need more than help, Lena replied. They need hope. For the past 2 months, Lena had been moving from one forgotten place to another. Some had no power. Others were full of broken machines and broken trust. She never promised safety. She promised support, and she always returned with something. Food, tools, training, or protection. Her name began to travel across systems. It was not just the name of a princess anymore. It was the name of a leader who acted. A quiet flame that refused to die. Messages started coming from distant corners of the galaxy. Some came from old Velari captains who had hidden their ships after the fall. Others were from small alien groups who had stayed neutral during the war, but now feared growing danger. One message came from a forgotten moon base called Kale 1. It was short. We have seen your work. We believe in your goal. If you come to speak, we will listen. Ryan studied the name. This place was once a command center, he said, before the war. Now it's likely full of old systems and cautious people. Then that's exactly where we need to go, Lena replied. When they arrived at Kale 1, the base looked lifeless from orbit. Its walls were worn. Towers stood half-lit. But as their ship approached, a signal came. Docking approved. Inside, they were greeted by a group of quiet watchers. Not many spoke at first. Lena stood tall and calm. She did not give orders. She simply told them what she had seen. I have walked through places full of silence and fear. I have spoken with people who feel forgotten. I am not here to rule. I am here to build something better with anyone who is willing. One of the listeners, an old pilot named Thane, stepped forward. Do you want to start a war? He asked. No. Lena said, I want to stop one before it begins. Thane looked at her for a long time. Then he nodded. I will follow. Not because you were a crown, but because you carry a purpose. The next day, Kale One joined her cause. Soon after, 3 more small fleets sent word. Ships began to arrive one by one. Some were old and rusty. Others were fast but light. They did not form an army. They formed a shield, a line of defenders for the weak. Lena began organizing them and helped her build a communication system between the ships. Thane trained new pilots in fast escape tactics. Others repaired broken weapons and tested old defense towers. Each day, more ships sent messages. Each day, Lena wrote back with simple words of unity, not commands. One evening, Mira came to her, holding a datapad. We've received a distress signal, she said. A small moon station. Being attacked now. Pirate signature confirmed. Lena did not hesitate. Prepare the fleet. She said, we go now. It was their first true test. The fleet moved fast. Rin's ship led the way, with 2 smaller crafts flying close behind. They exited lightspeed near the moon station and saw the enemy at once, a large pirate ship. Firing at the station's power lines, Lena stood at the front of the control room. Send a warning, she ordered. A message was sent. This is a protected zone. You will leave or face resistance. The pirates answered with silence and more fire. Lena turned to her team, blocked their path, forced them to turn. No direct attack. Rin gave the commands. The new fleet moved with surprising skill. They flew in tight lines, circling the pirate ship and cutting off escape. When the pirates turned to fight, 2 decoy ships drew their fire while others moved and Lena never shouted. She watched, thought, and gave short instructions. In less than 20 minutes, the pirate ship was retreating. The moon station survived. When the battle ended, Lena contacted the station directly. You are safe now. We will send food and repairs. The people there cheered. For the first time in years, they felt protected. That night, Lena stood alone near the observation window. Ryan joined her after a while. You led your first defense today. He said, I didn't lead it alone, she replied. They believed in the idea. I just reminded them why. You did more than that, Rin said. You turned whispers into action. Lena nodded slowly. Then let the stars hear more, she said. We're not done yet. Back in her room, she opened her journal. She wrote about the battle, not as a victory, but as a sign that the galaxy was listening, and that people were ready to follow something greater than fear. The victory at the moon station spread fast. Small ships that had once drifted alone now turned toward Lena's growing fleet. Messages poured in from distant colonies. People who had lived in silence for years began to speak again. Some offered supplies, some offered information, and some offered their strength still. Lena did not call herself a ruler. She called herself a voice, a guide, a reminder that even quiet people can rise when the time is right. One morning, Rin entered the control room with a report in his hand. His face was serious. A pirate fleet has been spotted near the edge of the Terra Belt, he said. It's not a single ship this time. 5 vessels, heavily armed. They've already taken down 1 cargo line. Lena leaned over the map. The Terra Belt was home to 5 peaceful colonies. They had no fighters, only workers and families. They'll attack again, she said. Ryan nodded. Soon, Lena turned to her crew. Prepare the fleet. We go now. The fleet moved quickly. Over time, it had grown into more than a collection of ships. It had become a network of belief. People from different worlds, different pasts, now flew under one banner, not of power, but of protection. They reached the Terra Belt before sunset. The 5 colonies had already begun evacuation. Families rushed onto small transports. Some stations had shut down their power to hide in the dark, but hiding would not stop what was coming. From deep space, the pirate fleet appeared. 5 large ships with dark armor and blinking red lights. They flew in a loose formation, confident and slow. They had crushed many before. They expected no challenge here. Lena stood in the middle of the control room. Her eyes were calm. Her mind was focused. Open communication, she said. A message was sent to the pirate fleet. This zone is protected. You are ordered to leave. The pirates replied with laughter and threats. Lena did not react. Form the defense circle, she said. No ship fights alone. Protect the escape lines. The fleet moved into position. Old ships and new ones, large. Freighters now carrying shield upgrades, small crafts with fast engines, and new pilots, Thane. The old pilot from Kale 1 led the outer ring. Mira controlled the emergency response team. Ren stayed beside Lena, watching the pirate movements. Carefully, the battle began. The pirates attacked from the center, trying to break the line. Lena's fleet did not charge forward. They moved with purpose, blocking paths, guiding the enemies away from the colonies. It was not a fight of power. It was a fight of thinking. Every time the pirates tried to corner one group, another blocked their way. Every time they fired, the koi ships drew their attention. One pirate ship managed to damage a shield carrier, but before it could finish the job, two smaller crafts rammed it from the side and forced it off course. Lena watched everything. She did not shout. She gave short, clear orders. Her voice was steady, her heart full of fire. Hours passed. The pirate ships began to pull back. Their leaders had expected easy victory. Now they faced a fleet that refused to fall. The final blow came when Thane's team disabled the lead pirate vessel's engine. As it drifted, the others broke formation and retreated into deep space. Silence filled the command room. Lena closed her eyes for a moment. It's over, Ren said beside her. No, she replied. It has just begun. Messages came from the colonies. Thank you. We are safe. We believe in you. That night, a gathering was held on one of the colony stations. Pilots, engineers, and citizens all stood in a large hall. They waited for Lena to speak. She stepped onto the platform, wearing her plain coat, the star-shaped badge still pinned near her shoulder. I did not fight today, she began. You did. She looked around the room. You fought with skill, with honor, and with heart. You stood for those who could not defend themselves. That is more powerful than any weapon. People clapped softly. Some nodded. Some stood a little taller. Our strength is not in ships or firepower. Our strength is in our choice to protect, to stand, to believe that the galaxy can be better. The crowd grew silent, listening, understanding. We may come from different places, she said, but now we walk the same path. After her speech, many came forward. One colony leader gave her a simple metal ring. This belonged to my brother, he said. He once believed the Velari were weak. Today, he watched you lead. He was wrong. Lena accepted the ring with care. Later, aboard the ship, she stood beside Ren. I never planned for this, she said. You didn't need to, Ren replied. You just did what was right. She looked out at the stars. Do you think we can truly change the galaxy? Ren thought for a moment. Then he answered, You already have. Lena smiled. Just a little. She was no longer a symbol of surrender. She was the leader of a force built on trust, respect, and courage. And this was only the first stand. Lena stood quietly on the observation deck of Ren's ship. Below her, the Velari homeworld slowly came into view, a world scarred by war and neglect. The once proud cities were now shadows of their former selves, crumbled buildings, empty streets, and dark skies told the story of loss and defeat. This was the place she had left as a frightened girl. Now, she was returning as someone very different. Beside her, Ren remained silent, watching the world they were about to face. The ship landed softly near the capital city. Guards approached, their faces cautious and filled with suspicion. Word had spread quickly. The princess who had been chosen as a prize was coming home, but not as a prisoner. She came with a fleet. She came with new ideas. She came as a leader. At the city gates, the Velari Council awaited. The elders were dressed in ceremonial robes, their expressions unreadable. Lena stepped forward and bowed respectfully. I have returned, she said calmly, not as the princess who was taken, but as a voice for our future. One elder, tall and stern, spoke. You were weak before, he said. You brought shame by leaving. The council does not know if you have changed. Lena looked at him steadily. I was weak because I did not understand, but I have learned. I have traveled the stars. I have seen what it means to protect, to lead, and to serve. Another elder shook his head. Words are easy, actions are what matter. Lena nodded. Then watch what I will do. The council agreed to a private meeting. They would listen but would not promise support. Inside the chamber, Lena laid out her plan. We cannot rebuild by isolation, she said. We must unite with others, humans, aliens, those who seek peace and strength. Alone, we fall. Together, we rise. An elder scoffed. Humans once crushed us. Why trust them now? Because one human chose me, Lena replied. He saw strength where others saw only weakness. Ren stepped forward, quietly but firmly. We do not forget the past, but the future belongs to those willing to change. The council was silent. After long debate, they gave Lena permission to begin rebuilding the Velari fleet. It would be small and humble, but a start outside. Lena spoke to a crowd of Velari citizens. Many had lost hope. Many doubted. I ask you to join me, she said, not for revenge or pride, but for our home, for safety, for the future of our children. Slowly, people came forward. Engineers, pilots, and young volunteers offered their hands. They wanted to help rebuild what was broken. Ryan watched as Lena moved among them, not as a princess, but as a leader and a friend. Days turned into weeks. Factories began working again. Old ships were repaired. New training started. But not everyone welcomed change. A group of traditionalists whispered in dark corners. They believed the old ways were best and feared the new alliance with humans. One night, a message arrived, threats to Lena's life. Warnings to stop her work. Lena faced the threat with quiet courage. I do not fear those who cling to the past, she said to Ren. The future is bigger than their fear. Ren placed a hand on her shoulder. We will protect you. With new resolve, Lena strengthened her defenses. Her fleet trained harder. New alliances formed. The galaxy began to take notice. Stories of the Velari princess who returned to lead spread across systems. Some were skeptical, others hopeful. Lena knew this was just the beginning. The throne she had returned to was broken, but it could be rebuilt, not by force alone, but by hope, strength, and unity. As she stood once more on the observation deck, she looked at the stars beyond her homeworld. We will rise, she whispered, together. The galaxy was changing. Lena stood on the bridge of the flagship, looking out at the stars. The fleet behind her was no longer small. Ships of many kinds, human, Velari, and others flew together as one. It was a symbol of hope. Around her, the crew worked with quiet energy. Everyone knew this was more than a mission. It was a chance to create a new future. Ryan stood beside her, calm as ever. He had been with her from the start, watching as the quiet princess became a leader. Do you remember when you first chose me? Lena asked softly. Ryan smiled. I do. I thought you were fragile. And now, you lead armies across the galaxy. Lena smiled back. The fleet approached a new system. It was a place torn by years of conflict, with broken worlds and scattered people. Lena had received a call for help. The colony was under threat from a rogue fleet, but they had no help coming. This was their chance to show what they had become. As the fleet dropped out of light speed, Lena prepared her team. This is not about war, she said. It is about protection. The battle was fierce but careful. Lena directed ships to block escape routes and protect civilians. Pilots followed her orders with trust and skill. The rogue fleet fought hard, but they were no match for the united forces. One by one, their ships retreated. When the fight ended, Lena sent a message to the colony. You are safe. We will help you rebuild. The colony's leaders sent thanks. Their voices were full of relief and hope. Later, Lena stood before the fleet. You were brave today, she said, not because of weapons or ships, but because you stood for what is right. The crew cheered softly. She thought about how far they had come, from a fragile princess taken as a prize to a leader inspiring many. Her story was no longer about defeat. It was about strength and unity. "Let this banner fly across the stars," she said. "A banner of peace and protection." Ren watched her with pride. "You changed more than just your world," he said. "You changed the galaxy." Lena looked out at the stars again. "This is just the beginning. Together, they will lead the galaxy into a new age, one where kindness and strength could walk side by side." And so, under a new banner, the fleet moved forward, a beacon of hope among the endless stars.